and ineligible to be banned prior to the match. Kolento protected his Highlander Hunter deck in the series. It's one of the few times we've been seeing it brought recently by someone other than Silvername. For hunterace, he's protected his warrior in this matchup, his control warrior, which features a copy of Spellword Jeweler in it, specifically to tech against Holy Wrath Paladin. And then on both sides, Priest has been banned away. Shocking!
Whoa! This is some APAC gaming right now.
Starting off with a Druid Mirror match, where both players agreed to do nothing for several turns.
Hooray. Look at the deck lists, neither playing Nomi.
I thought we were going to agree to do nothing for the first couple of turns.
Oh, sorry, yeah, you're right. That was a good bit. I missed the social cues, as I am known to do.
Well, if you want to be social, don't be a gamer.
There you go. Kolento said it. He's right as always. But deck lists. Neither of them playing Nomi, which does kind of change the dynamic of the matchup a bit. If either or both players are playing Nomi, really the best metric to see who's ahead in the matchup is just who is closer to the bottom of their deck. Because that race to play the first Nomi and then being able to floop and release it and everything else is like, you're so far ahead if you can do that before your opponent without dying. Without Nomi in the deck, it does get very, very different. Like who's ahead on board, who's ahead on resources, who's ahead on tempo, all of those things matter a lot more. Nomi, I think, really polarizes how the matchup is played, but it's a card that we are seeing less and less and less of as the weeks go on in Hearthstone Grandmasters. In Europe, at least. I can't speak for the other regions.
I think as it stands right now, I'm going to give Kolento the advantage. First was the Innervate on turn 1. I think pretty crucial in the mirror match. Second is he has the Nourish lined up for turn 6. And hunterace is the first one prompted to respond. This is the first time I've seen him not just shake his head at something bad happening, though. That's a very common hunterace trait.
Yep.
It's like not the perfect outcome. I expect perfect from the deck. I expect perfect from myself, and I deliver. Why isn't the deck following suit? Oh boy.
Say that the matchup isn't immediately dictated by who's closer to the bottom of their deck if you're not playing Nomi. It's still a pretty good indicator because it can show you which one of the players has cast Nourish.
Tendies!
There you go.
Surgers!
Now you're getting it.
I think hunterace is in a heap of trouble.
Yep. The good news is that his deck, Quest Druid in general, has so much stability that he's not likely to die in the next couple of turns. So he does have time to scratch and claw his way back into this. But the discrepancy in the quality of the starts is enormous.
Yeah, I'm looking at Surger Power of the Wild next turn, and I am seeing a lot of bad things happening for hunterace.
Yeah.
When this is the best play you got. I mean, Wrath possibilities open now.
Oh, just low T Wrath clean to take care of it, you say?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can see that.
Get the Lodi developed that way, which is a big fear for hunterace.
It's a little awkward, just because you have 4 remaining afterwards. Are you going to drop a Power of the Wild in that world as well?
I'm guessing I would.
Okay.
Copy of Mind Control tech in the deck for hunterace. Kolento does not have a copy of Mind Control tech. So planning for that outcome, I think, you know, that is something that you basically start doing at this stage of the game.
Yeah, especially when your opponent has missed so many key cards in the early game, right? Like wasn't innovating early on to find extra turns, didn't nourish on 6. You start to think about well, what cards does my opponent have in their hand? And there's a lot of them, right? Like, you can see the range of cards that hunterace does have. I think you can account for, or you can have a lot, too much faith in a hand read in this situation, because there's a huge range of cards that your opponent can still have.
Oh, how about just rip the innervate?
Oh, that innervate just punched me in the gut. Disgusting.
Ah, there's the head shake. Yeah, find your way out of that one.
He's gonna try.
What to do?
Ouch. Spy and a swipe.
Really?
Wrath again, innervate swipe.
Oh, okay. Sure. Even then, like, the swipe itself is always inefficient, right?
It is. I guess it would depend on whether or not you expect Kolento to expose the Lodi next turn.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't typically expect that.
Job done.
No sign of this hand slowing down just yet for Kolento.
Yeah, the one way it's definitely exposed more often is in the case of Power of the Wild and Tending Tauren. For Kolento, though, you have to think about how the setup looks. And Lodi Starfall, I'm guessing, is on his mind.
Yep, turn 8. Combination just became possible.
Just going further.
Just a nice Bloodfen Raptor. That's what we needed this turn.
It's a nice one. Good luck, hunterace. Yep. Ow. Ow again.
Oh, he actually ripped it, and it's not good enough.
You take exactly 17 on the backswing.
Shout out to Kolento. He recognized the one thing that he was being threatened by. He played around it effectively.
I'm going to say it again. You take exactly 17 on the backswing.
I didn't check your maths, so I'm hoping you're right.
That's insane.
Looks like 17 to me, yeah.
So the Lodi has to be exposed.
Yep.
This gets in the way.
Not enough, though, versus Kolento's hand. Not enough versus a huge range of what Kolento's hand could be, so
Well,
I still think
you are still
it has to
alive in
come
this
down.
spot.
Yep. I mean, like, that one taunt plus leaving the Loti stealth was just not going to be good enough against any real range of Kolento's hand. But attacking with the Loti, much more secure. Wait, are you? Yes, it's one off, right?
One off.
Swipe face, wrap the minion.
What to do?
So what can the Wrath find? There's 2 copies of Power of the Wild.
Second copy of Power of the Wild will do it, yeah.
Second swipe.
Yep. His War Druid Loti? Do you already play it?
Yes.
He did? Yeah, okay. So just those 2, I think.
Time waits for no one.
Were the Expedition something? Oh, he's already played both?
Both are gone, yeah.
Yep, alright, just those 2 outs.
So Kolento says, I want to develop even further than heal up my minion.
Yeah, makes sense.
Nine mana. My kingdom for a 10th mana.
Expeditions for a Wrath? We're full clear here? Right? No, not quite. It's the one off. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know if he stays alive. I don't think he does.
I wonder.
I don't see it. It's the best shot you've got, though.
Yeah, as far as hunterace knows, he's alive. Only taking 12 on the following turn from what he can see. He is taking this full 18 to the face.
Dominant game from Kolento in the first one. Early nourish and pressure beating down the door the entire way.
Yep. hunterace looking pretty zen about it though. Taking a quick trip to his happy place. Kolento, who of course famous.
So, Hunter has been one of the decks that we've been talking about, and in terms of its performance in Grandmasters, it has looked pretty darn good. I believe it's in the top 4 performing decks right now in terms of win rate.
Yeah,
albeit its sample size a little bit less than a lot of the other decks we have.
Yeah, it has looked strong, but it's been strong sparingly. We haven't seen it every series. We haven't been seeing it in every lineup. But Kolento has enough faith not only to bring it here as his 4th deck, but also to then protect it in the series. Neither priest, again, was protected in this series, which then meant both priests got banned, which I believe is fairly unique for what we've been seeing in European Grandmasters.
A couple of small cards, I think, to point out in Kolento's deck. He's gone with Shimmerfly in his Highlander Hunter, typically. Like, he's been one of the players who's played it the most. And Shimmerfly is not always in all these lists that I've seen. They've tended to, like, kind of trim on 1-drops.
Sure.
Also including a Houndmaster and a baited arrow in the deck. The Houndmaster, of course, meant to, act as a snowball mechanism if you have early beast rolling. And the baited arrow, as I heard Bloodyface so wonderfully described when he had brought it to a tournament, it just lines up so well against Ziliax on turn 5.
Yep. There is that Houndmaster, and you see one of the cards that it pairs so nicely with, that Hyena Alpha, gives you some really powerful potential curves of like Secret on 2, Coin Hyena on 3, Houndmaster on 4. And that's kind of how you want to go about building a Highlander deck. You want to have as many possible different variations of those powerful curves as you can, and Houndmaster coming in just kind of plays nicely with a few other cards around that. Animal Companion on 3, Coin Hyena Alpha. You just give yourself options. You give maximum opportunity for your weirdly inconsistent deck to do something that at least creates the illusion of consistency.
This is a weird turn to me for hunterace. And Innervate does feel a turn late. However, he can minimize the impact that this Houndmaster would have. And that would require a pretty great deal of faith and insight into the matchup.
What are you describing?
If you coin hero, or if you innovate hero power.
Time waits for no one.
So I was curious whether you were potentially describing innovating an Oasis Surgeon later on in the game, yeah.
I was thinking about cutting into the snowball mechanisms. That's a deck, Hunter's a deck that's designed to do that. Try to take that potential away.
Yeah, kind of like it.
Let's get some very good news here on turn 3 as well. Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Very much as the song goes. Hunter, what is it good for?
Weirdly, that's not how I remember the lyrics. It's got to try and set up this Houndmaster for the following turn. It's not going to work though. hunterace has this checked as well. Kolento just really trying to get some pressure rolling here. So what this deck really does very well is it just puts weird mid-rangey pressure on decks like Quest Druid. If you can then draw one of your big finishers, be it the Zephyrus, be it the Dino Tamer Bran, often get you over the line.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
I think it's a nod to the fact that there's no other card draw in hand.
Okay.
You have a pair of Surgers. If your Surgers aren't the best because of Houndmaster, you're probably okay with it.
Yeah, actually, this is just kind of fine, right? Like, I was about to say this plays into multiple cards from Kolento's side, Houndmaster and Ziliax, of which he has both. But in either of those worlds, you're just fine with playing an Oasis Surger on the following turn anyway. So there's very little punish for hunterace to make the, I'd say, mana-efficient play with Quest Druid, which kind of has a weird definition in its own right. Now you see Kolento just having to trade to respect the threat of Oasis Surges coming down.
Yeah, I think it's a wise trade. I think if you don't trade there, some things can really go awry.
Yep.
For the rest of your game plan. As it stands, things still don't look pretty.
Yeah, this 5-1 is making your Unleash the Beast look very stupid.
Yeah, that's what I think when I see Unleash the Beast. You're stupid. How good was that explosive trap?
Yeah, he just had so little to do that turn without it. Crucially, the combination of Unleash the Beast and Zul'jin is in hand for Kolento. Unleash the Beast is perhaps the most important card to be playing outside of maybe Deadly Shot in some matchups when you get to that eventual Zul'jin turn, just because it's often the biggest tempo swing.
I mean, if I'm looking at this hand from Kolento, this is like exactly what I want to see. I want to see some more spells show up, and I want to Zul'jin Unleash the Beast twice.
How much initiative is he going to have lost before he gets to that point, though?
That's a good question. I think for hunterace, it's exactly what he's trying to create. How do I make the toughest board possible for Kolento's side? So that looks to me like a turn setup here with the Floop on the Oasis Surger. You use a 2-mana card. Next turn, you play a 5-mana Oasis Surger, use another 2-mana card.
Yep. Surger into Floop just annoys me. I'm just going to put that out there. This should be illegal.
Yeah, well, get wrecked, idiot.
Yeah, no, I mean, fair enough. Gosh, that's unnecessarily powerful.
hunterace, he risked the pressure plate last turn, right?
Yes.
It's kind of an unlucky order for Kolento then. Pressure plate shows up right after the explosive trap.
There was no way to do it that didn't run that risk, though. Like, he couldn't guarantee himself a full clear in the world where pressure plate was there.
No, you could.
Go
You would
on.
just have weaker Oasis Surgers.
Oh, like, if you just don't play the Power of the Wild.
No, you just clear Power of the Wild. Hits the Power of the Wild token, then you play your Surger.
Yeah, okay.
Moves quickly.
I mean, there's a ton of secrets in the deck, though. I'm feeling some ouchies. I'm going to put Kolento officially in the camp of trouble. You see the payoff now. Finding out that wasn't pressure plate.
Payoff for finding out that it is explosive trap.
Ooh.
Means that no rat considerations, no snake considerations. I guess you already tested for snake on the previous turn.
Yeah. This is a very clear, like, Wrath Oasis Surger to me. I cannot even imagine doing else. It's always worth thinking about, but this is just like unthinkably good versus what Hunter does.
Yeah. As soon as you say something like that, I just immediately want to find a different play. Be like, no, this! But no, you're just right. This is the line.
Ooh. That's a pretty excellent draw, I think. Or does it complicate stuff? I mean, I guess he was looking at like Ziliak's kill command.
Right. I think that's probably better. He wants as many spells cast as possible before he gets to his Zorgen, right? Because he's falling so far behind, he just needs his Zorgen to be the absolute nuts. He needs both Unleash the Beast getting summoned, he needs the kill command to be in there and also killing a 5/5 on his opponent's side of the board. Like, that's just where he has to live, that's happening.
Kind of the way I was looking at it was if you, like, Ziliax and Snip Snap, what that means is for your following turn, you have kill command Unleash the Beast. Or Unleash the Beast kill command, you know, like whichever one you want to set. But I think you're right about the secrets. Like, you need spells lined up in this.
Yeah, so doing it this way around is interesting to me. I guess it does give you Unleash the Beast kill command for the following turn.
Yeah, strong against spell pressure. Like,
but yeah,
this is gonna get killed off.
My 2 turns on 8 and 9 involved playing every spell I currently had in my hand because I think that's the out.
You're just gonna have to slam it.
Yep.
When you're not under this much pressure from Kolento, one of the cool things that I've been finding in the matchup is if you're able to go fairly even, you get to Zephyrus a Twisting Nether, and then use the Zul'jin to replay the Twisting Nether later on. Like, it's a good way to just beat Quest Druid if you're at all at parity. And so, if you've been struggling in the matchup from the Druid side, take note that aggression is really the way to change that. You're not always offered that opportunity, so when you are, it's important to seize it.
Yeah. Yeah, quite often it's the Hunter that's setting up the aggression. We saw how weak Kolento's opening was here. So it's very hard for Druid to do what Druid's done this game. But Oasis Surge of Floop has a lot to do with it. That'll flip a lot of matchups on its head. Just why do they have to be 5/6s? Can't we just make an exception? It's one time.
Larry says, what's the point of using this swipe when I can just draw a million cards? He sniffed out pressure plate, and I agree. Draw your cards. Yeah, this is trouble. That is a lot of damage on the other side. Up to 11 from hunterace with the current hand. Not interested in using that swipe this turn, though.
I wonder.
He's taking a peek at the deck list, of course. Open deck list format.
Yeah, I think big consideration this turn is how many duplicates you have left for that Zephyrus, because that can potentially find you some weird lethal breakpoints if you Ferocious Howl into that duplicate. He, again, has been playing this game without a Nourish. 2 Nourishes still in the deck, at the very least.
3 Surgers, though.
He did, yeah. I mean, I've made my feelings on Oasis Surge of Floop very clear.
Time waits for no one.
2 Crystal Merchants are stuck to the board with some backup. I want to call it bootleg Nourish, but oh my gosh, it just might be better. They still threaten to draw cards.
That 6/6 taunt ends up being absolutely crucial here because of these 2 Unleash the Beast that are going to come out.
And things could still go awry here for Kolento.
Number 1. Needs activate kill command to hit the 3/5 or the 6/6. That is not good enough, as much as I'm sure it made chat happy.
Of course, interested in attacking. You have an explosive trap set.
Of course you're going to lose to Cenarius. Why wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, that's Cenarius.
Yeah. What are we checking?
Well, it's 6 + 8. You're making sure about the traps.
Okay. It's like he checked the deck list for something, as if that was going to be relevant.
Just double check, just make sure.
Yeah, sure. Maybe he was checking the tracker for which secrets have been played, so he knew, just double checking that it wasn't freezing or anything silly like that.
hunterace ties it up. Oasis Surgers pretty much enough of those will take care of any problem that you're facing down. That is a tough card to fight off tempo of. If your deck is playing on a more linear curve, like you have to have swing turns facing against Oasis Surger, or it does not work trying to fight that board.
Yeah, I mean, there's for sure things that Hunter can do. You know, they have much more aggressive curves than the one that Kolento presented. You think about Secret Keepers just coming down and dealing a bunch of damage. You think about, you know, turn 2 Freezing Trap coming into play and then getting the Hyena Alpha down, and then the Oasis Surger that meets that is then met with a Freezing Trap because Druid hasn't played anything else in the early game.
Having a 3-cost card on turn 3.
Also helps, yeah. You know, play the Zephyrus curve early. Like, that can be huge as well in the matchup.
But you think about that whole game in totality and how important the Innervate draw was for Hunterace starting on turn 2, allowing him to simply hero power a 1-1, hero power another 1-1, and then the Houndmaster doesn't snowball the board. Like, that draw was so crucial. And also the foresight about that, where you have the faith to say, you know what, my opponent has Houndmaster coming up, I need to start cleaning up the board right now. And so to have the discipline to do that, that's a tough thing to do.
But then also the opposite of that on the turn where the Life Drinker was in play, and he just doesn't wrath it. He just says, go ahead, have your good Houndmaster turn, have your good Ziliax turn. Feel like you have some pressure on me because I have that checked. My Oasis Surger deals with anything you can do that turn. And you saw Kolento's response was, well, yeah, you're right. I have to trade here still. Even worse. Like, he didn't even get to push damage in the situation.
Such a strong contrast to back-to-back turns where it feels so natural to do the opposite of what he's done in both of those scenarios.
And that's where the debate about, like, are there play styles or do people just make the right play every turn? Like, that's why it's such a, like, controversial point of discussion, because those two polar opposites in terms of play style, you know, control the board at all costs. No, screw it. Like, you can have your board. Hit me. They're polar opposites in terms of playstyle, but they're both correct in the situation that they came up.
The answer is, it's both.
Yes, yeah. Correct.
Game number 3 is what we're headed into right now. And Hunterace is going to be on a deck that I am always interested in watching him play. This feels like one of the signature things for him. He's piloted it very well in multiple tournaments at this point. He's piloted it extremely well across Grandmasters. And one of the coolest things I heard about this was at the Masters Tour in Seoul, where Dan was talking about the players, you know, after the event, everyone's kind of relaxing, doing their thing, and Hunterace is like, no, I didn't play well enough this weekend. I need to practice. He's practicing Holy Wrath Paladin. Mm-hmm. It definitely shows.
You can, honestly, if you look at any photos taken from any after party of any Hearthstone esports event or any general Hearthstone event, you know, even if it's been put on by third parties, if you look in the background of all of those pictures and just pick out Hunterace, he will almost always have an iPad in his hand and be playing Hearthstone. Regardless of the setting, regardless of the situation, he'll still be talking to people, he'll still be having a good time, but there'll be a game of Hearthstone going on at the same time.
And as stressed as he looks right now, usually when I'm at an event and he's nearby, he's happy to talk about or play some Hearthstone. I think it's important to be relaxing. I think it's important to be able to clear your mind and stay focused. Everyone's going to do that in a different way.
Tablet in one hand, ice cream in the other. The Hunterace stance.
I love the gold animation of the spear. Just kind of dancing. You'll see it next turn.
I totally agree with your assessment, though. I think Hunterace and I would say Yala have been the two like go-to players. Like, if you want to learn Holy Wrath Paladin at a high level, I would seek out their games. Not only from Grandmasters, but also, as Admirable was saying, Hunterace has been playing it through multiple tournaments recently.
It's an interesting turn. My instinct was to go with the Acolyte there.
I hope you like my invention.
Does this attempt to avoid the disaster of the Perfect Animal Companion or a Deadly Shot?
Short answer to that is yes. I think both of those are good reasons not to play an Animal Companion. Sorry, not to play an Acolyte of Pain right now.
Just both outcomes present for
Yep.
Kolento's side.
Yep.
That's something that I've talked a lot about too. Is that when I watch the players who are considered the best in the world, and I think often who prove that they are the best in the world, that changes from event to event, from year to year. They avoid catastrophes. And that Acolyte of Pain drawing 0 cards, I think is about as close to a catastrophe as you can imagine this game.
Yeah. I think especially when you have Elven Archer in hand already, you have 2 Pyromancers remaining in your deck, like you're in a very nice position to be able to secure as few or as many draws off that Acolyte of Pain as you would like. I
Why would you
don't
push
want
the 1?
to get Houndmastered here.
So Kolento's thinking about the life total there when he trades off the 1/1? Like his overall life total when he trades off the 1/1?
Sorry, I was already considering whether we consecrate. What did he do?
So he poked the spear in the face and then used the 1/1 to trade off.
I think that's
minion.
relevant. Yeah, I think the 1 is relevant in terms of just not getting beaten by 1 Holy Wrath this game. I think that can actually matter.
And then also just pushing the extra damage instead.
Yep.
Interesting. Seems counterintuitive with a Houndmaster in play, but you know, you're trying to discourage your opponent from consecrating here.
Right. The sketchy thing about the consecration this turn is that Kolento can still land a Houndmaster. It's just not a Houndmaster with charge on the following turn, even if the consecration does come down.
Yeah, this is tough.
Move quickly.
Desert Spear is a heck of a card.
That is honestly, that's such an excellent pressure point for Kolento to recognize that too, saying, hey, you know what, if I poke this Desert Spear here, not only do I take the extra damage, but I incentivize my opponent to consecration. I don't want to do that.
Yep. Oh, 4 equals 4. World of difference between this Houndmaster landing and the Houndmaster that hits you in the face for 6 with a buffed up Huffer. Huntrace has some game against this with Hammer of Wraths.
Shrink Ray on curve, though.
Yeah.
That's a tough card to use. Peel 5 attack off board, you could peel 4 attack off board. You could say, you know what, I'll take the damage. I'm going to heal it back up with Crystal Smith Kangor, which is a threat. And so now, Kolento faced with a decision. And so we can see from the hand range that he's going to be very interested in a deadly shot turn this turn. Very interested in Mask Contender as well. I think this is a great plan for Hunterace's side to try and disrupt this. And Kolento has multiple ways to respond.
Put yourself in a position with deadly shot targets on 5, because if Kolento spends 3 on a deadly shot on 5, he's then in a situation where, like, what does his deck do with 2 mana? Zephyrus? That's about the only powerful thing that he can do with 2. Secrets you don't really care about. Still risky, though.
Golly.
Why don't you just rip the deadly shot first here and don't make the decision? Because I want
Does
to...
the secret represent a well enough...
Well, here's the thing. I want to go face for 7, right? But if the deadly shot doesn't kill the Kangors, that's kind of pointless.
Yeah, I think giving up the card draw is a good course of action. Like, you still get to push 4.
Yeah.
You've limited the potential. Ah, that's a way to kind of go face for 7. Who cares about the secret?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Take 2, idiot!
Yeah, secrets, who cares? And I say, what can Hunter do with 2 extra mana that's powerful? Well, yeah, pressing the button is pretty powerful in a lot of situations.
So I think that check for that Hunterace set for Kolento was passed beautifully. So now if I'm in Hunterace's spot, I'm starting to worry.
Hunterace is thumbing his Holy Wrath. It's making me
It's
nervous.
like, no, this is not worth it yet.
It's just off curve as well. I don't really understand, like... I guess because he can then...
face, right? Like to get lucky potential.
No way.
Well, I'm not going to Holy Wrath a minion right now. I got a Hammer of Wrath in hand. Why would I do that?
Sure.
Move quickly.
I think if you're considering Holy Wrathing that turn, you're considering Holy Wrathing a minion. Because you have the Elven Archer for the failure rate. But I totally agree that it's just not the play that turn. I think that's the most important takeaway.
That Kangor being gone, too. That's a massive difference in
Big
this
loss.
game.
Yep.
Zephyrus found for Kolento as well, so a lot of surprise damage factor from hand. And for Kolento, it's start to look at that button and figure out how to do this best time. This bigger minion better.
Good old-fashioned face hunter. How many turns are remaining in this game? How many hero powers is that? Multiply that by 2, count backwards.
And Hunterace is in trouble. I don't know, man.
I wonder.
Still have questions. I didn't even consider the Acolyte Kangor's line. I keep calling it Kangor's. The Acolyte Kangor line on turn 5 that hunterace came up with. It did seem like it was running a risk of taking an enormous amount of damage. That is the spot that hunterace now finds himself in.
So now your pressure's been neutralized. How do you climb back?
How about a nice Stormpike Commando off this Zephyrus?
Will it offer Stormpike Commando?
No. I remember with that like screenshot I had from yesterday when we were practicing, and it gave me the Starfall in a spot where like it was just literally significantly worse Stormpike Commando.
I mean, there was a 3-2 in play on the other side.
Just gonna Stormpike Commando it. I didn't actually play.
Starfall.
I didn't actually play it looking for it. I was
Yeah.
looking for a Tyrion.
Moves quickly.
Keep hitting the button.
hunterace, though, has almost free reign to do what he wants this turn, and this could be the real corner turner. Has to play another minion? No, he's good. No, he does, right?
Well, he needs to do a couple things this turn. Number
Yeah.
one is Kolento is looking at Avenging Wrath off Zephyrus.
Yep.
So if hunterace attacks here, things can go bad. So up to 12 with Flash of Light. I think a pretty critical draw.
Draws 2 cards off the Flash of Light because of the pressure plate in play, which is very important because, as you said, he did not want to attack with that Blood Mage to draw that card.
And Kolento, I think, is thinking about exactly Shirvala with this turn, where if hunterace cannot heal, the Zephyrus offering Avenging Wrath is a major threat.
Yeah, hunterace is running a 1 True Silver list, which means the 1 healing card remaining was just that 1 Flash of Light with, 10 cards remaining in the deck at the time. Of course, Shivala heals as well, but as Admirable was saying, no minions in play, no healing from Shivala.
Yeah, like what on earth do you do? Like, you're thinking about Rat Trap here as well. Because that Explosive Trap wasn't activated, you're thinking about if I play 2 cards, I might just lose.
Yeah.
So the Subdue draw would be one of the kickers to that. But you need hand space, and that's an expensive card. Wow, this is weird. Oh, boy. If you hero power now, and you hero power next turn, with a Dino Tamer Brand, that's 12 damage.
Yep.
And if you just hero power, are you telling hunterace what you have? If you hero power, is it ever worth using Zephyrus just to try to launch damage at face?
You're still sad if you see Shivala, right? How much does the
think so.
Shivala cost? 2 prismatic lenses.
I wonder.
have been
Those haven't been played yet.
played. There's just the 1 Holy Wrath, the 2 Consecrations. So that's 13. 2 Flash of Lights, that's 17.
Christology?
1 Christology, 2 Christology, that's 19.
Moves
So
quickly.
it costs, okay, I mean, that's cheap enough. We can stop counting. That's cheap enough that it's relevant. So even if Kolento like takes Zephyrus, plays it, shoots a fireball here, he deals 8 to his opponent, goes down to 4. Yeah, the Shivala still digs him out of that. I don't think there's any reason to play minions right now. I think
Excellent spot.
I think pass is the play for Kolento.
And that Zephyrus is not active. It's time to find a timeout. Both buried in the bottom 7. Two Wild Pyros in the bottom 7 as well, which right now, honestly, is a pretty big blessing with the Pyros and the Colin deck. It means that a Prismatic Lens is not going to necessarily fetch just Shirvala and then something.
Yep. hunterace needs to play a card out of his hand first before he rips this Prismatic.
This has to be timeout.
Zephyrus is active. He got pyro. He got pyro timeout. Yep.
Wow. Ooh. Wow. That is a super close call. I guess kind of looking at it, Equality was another one of the spells in the deck, and that was it.
Move quickly.
Yeah, it was just Equality.
Okay.
So that was a 2-to-1 outcome in favor of timeout.
Does Zephyrus give you the goods here if you play it?
I have no idea what Zephyrus gives you here.
Yep.
Reporting for duty.
How about a nice Jiraxxus?
I don't know. I don't know what to do. Does Zephyrus give you Gorehowl here in Kolento's spot? Can you like set up a Gorehowl with a Dino Tamer brand turn?
Ooh.
That's 17. That offsets the Shirvala heal.
I think it will, right?
I don't know. You set up the same thing by doing nothing.
Yeah, you are -7 damage on the next turn, though. But
Hunters can't heal.
Zephyrus.
What healing does it offer? Does it even offer healing? I mean,
You're a man that's full of questions and very few answers right now, Admirable.
Zephyrus loves Tyrion and Gorehowl, all right? Like he loves those cards.
Yeah.
I've never been at 10 versus Hunter with 2 1/1s in play.
Lower yourself to 8. Make Zephyrus far more interested in the idea.
Manipulate your mana.
Down to 6. Zephyrus, Healing Touch.
Kolento's looking stressed about it too.
Wish is my suggestion.
Heal. Thanks, bud.
Oh boy.
Now Kolento needs some minions in play.
The threat of Shirvala has only grown though.
Yep.
Do you have a better way to deliver the damage? I'm looking at Eagle Horn Bow Hero Power. That sets to 11. Threatens lethal with a Dino Tamer next turn.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
But with Hunterace having Prismatic Lens, Timeout, and something else left that you've yet to see,
Guaranteed timeout draw next turn.
from Hunterace's perspective, yeah, for
Yep.
Kolento, do you just have to hope those are buried?
Right.
Like,
Right.
I think if you're going to commit to the no minions line, you got to keep going.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. Kolento at 24, though, means that if Hunterace gets to the end of his deck, this game is over. Hunterace with draw 2 cards plus a timeout this turn will always get to the end of his deck.
Does it not draw anymore? There's a Wild Pyro still left, so it guarantees the timeout. So you get a card out of your hand.
Just gonna play the Shirvala, Prismatic Lens to draw the 2 cards, reshuffle the Shirvala because he has 2 bankers anyway. Means that there's a Shirvala in play that still needs to be dealt with if Kolento has any illusions of trying to do something silly this game. Love all of this.
So what's the counterplay on Kolento's side? What's loaded up into the Zul'jin right now?
Deadly Shot.
It'll bring you to 29. It'll set Explosive Trap. It'll set Pressure Plate. It'll Deadly Shot. So if you Deadly Shot off the Shirvala, do you survive?
It's only taking you to 26 though.
Quickly.
But the Explosive Trap will stop the 2-2 and the 3-2 attacking on the next turn.
You don't have another option.
It's the only play.
Here comes the bigger.
And this is for the match.
Animal Companion. Nope, that's the bad one. That is also the bad one. no freezing in play. This is explosive trap and pressure plate.
Wow.
Which means this Shivala connects face. Holy Wrath ends the game next turn.
That is about as close as you could possibly make these turns. This was a razor's edge that was separating a killing blow.
The best Kolento can do right now is try and create a situation in which hunterace might throw. I guess the best he can also do is just hope that one of the... No, he saw both Prismatic Lens cards. They both got played. He knows they're not Holy Wrath that cost 25. He just knows it's over.
A razor-thin margin. Hunterace was so close to dying on so many turns. But I gotta give Kolento some credit in that one. I think that was the way to navigate it. And perhaps there was some ways around it. But timeouts are truly what stopped everything. I think his pressure plan was right. I think moving in that direction was right. But for Hunterace, it was the risk versus rewards and the payoffs. It was maximizing the risks into his advantage. That was the best he could do. And when you see the payoffs on those, you're going to win a lot of games in Holy Wrath Paladin when that's the situation. But that's the deck.
Yeah, so I think it all comes down to one turn in particular from Kolento, which you can make it pretty clear that I think he went down the right line. There was one turn where Hunterace's only survival mechanism was one remaining Flash of Light in his 10-card deck. That's very reasonable that that Flash of Light is buried down there. At that point, if that Flash of Light isn't there, what Kolento expects to then see is Hunterace has to start the timeout chain. The reality was it was the complete opposite. The timeouts weren't in hand and he found the Flash of Light. But if that first timeout comes down with 10 cards left in deck, and then the next turn he still can't heal because the same thing is true just then of a 9-card deck or however many cards he's drawn, then the second timeout goes down with 8, 7, 6 cards remaining in the deck. Like, that's a clock that really ticks away from Kolento's side. And it's very, very easy to look at Hunterace's hand and say, like, oh, well, he has the Flash of Light and an activated Zephyrus. Like, of course he's going to out-heal this plan. This never works. Kolento doesn't see the hand. Like, he just has to play around a range of options, and I think he played around a very reasonable one.
I think it's very well said, and I totally agree with that as well. So, let's hear from Hunterace. Hunterace, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Whew, congratulations on that one. I'm going to start off with a much different style of question. Are you aware of how important that Flash or Light draw was in that game, the second one?
Well, yeah, I kind of got the memo there, yeah. It seemed important.
At the time that you drew it, was that had you had the memo at that point yet?
Yeah, I had the memo at that point also, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, walk me through the match. What are some interesting points in here for you and some of the tougher spots that you faced?
I mean, for me, it's just really about trying to draw as efficiently as possible. At the same time, you try to deal with as much damage as possible because it's just kind of a race, right? He's trying to kill me, and I'm trying to reach the point of killing him. And he got off to a pretty aggressive start with the Desert Spare, which put me in a pretty bad spot because like, you wouldn't think it, but it's actually a super good card in the matchup because it just cleanly deals with all my 1/1s, and it makes it way harder for me to deal chip damage to his minions, which makes it so I can clear with Consecration or Subdue, Pyromancer, Equality, etc. So it was pretty annoying. Also, the Handmaster was super annoying. I was considering for a long time there if I was gonna go for the Hammer of Wrath or the Consecration on turn 4. It was like a super hard decision. But I felt that the impact of the 2 damage, or the damage he got to push if he had Handmaster in hand, was like a bit too much. And towards the end, I felt in a pretty bad position. I didn't have my Flash of Lights when I had the Kangor in hand, so I just went for a more aggressive plan with the Kangor there and kind of forced the Deadly Shot. And if he doesn't have the Deadly Shot, he has to take a way more slow approach. But the second he has the Deadly Shot there, it becomes super scary because I don't have timeouts or Flash of Lights, so it's like super real for him to just race me. And yeah, as you guys were talking about earlier, from the position he was at, it's probably super reasonable for him to just not play anything and go for the Dino Tamer Band Lethal. That's probably what I would have done too.
Are you just listening to our private conversations, Hunterace? Jeez, you can't.
Well, I was listening a bit before.
So I have a couple of Zephyrus questions for you. Firstly, do you know, was the attack you made into the explosive trap important in terms of forcing it to give you Healing Touch? And secondly, do you know what happens if you play it at the end of the turn before, when you were at 10 and you had exactly 2 mana left? Could you have played Zephyrus there and got a Healing Touch for the next turn?
Yeah, I could have. I think I would have gotten Healing I'm not sure if I would have gotten healing touch in both scenarios. I would definitely get healing touch if it was 10 or at 8. I think it goes up to like 12 or something.
Okay.
And you get healing touch. Might be a bit more. I'm not sure. It depends. But yeah, if I play it the turn before, I normally get offered like the 7 drop that heals. I was a bit afraid of getting that one and lay off hands, and I didn't really want that. I was kind of on the forcing healing touch plan, and it didn't feel that I needed the mana at least. But yeah, I need more experience in those scenarios because knowing that you can go for the healing touch, it was definitely worth it if it is the case.
Even more experience necessary.
I mean, I think everyone does, right? I feel like this is going to be the first time we get to an end of a metagame and we still just don't understand something about the game. Like, Zephrys is crazy.
The enigma that is Zephrys.
Yeah.
I just had a question in my mind. I forgot what it was.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, record. You're at 8-1 now, and you stand atop the bracket pretty decisively in the lead at this point. I guess, like, looking forward to some of your opponents here, like, has anything changed? You talked about the match with Orange last week. But with the way that other people's records are rolling out, is there anyone that you're still looking forward to facing?
I mean, at this point on, I just take every opponent as the same person. A lot of other people are probably struggling a lot right now. It's super tight in the bottom of the division, so everyone is looking for wins. And I'll just try to secure the first place in the division and get an important first seed for the playoffs.
Well, it's looking pretty good for you so far. You're 8-1. Only Swids has been able to take you down so far this season. Last time prior to that was Casey in Season 1. So, hunterace, congratulations on your victory here. You stand atop the rankings and atop the Grandmasters as the world champion himself. Looking forward to seeing you play this week.